Hi Facebook, so I'm back again to do chapter 4 of Limitless. I want to kind of breeze through this book. The chapters are pretty long, so I'm going through it quickly. And chapter 5 is actually the spell of belief systems. Why do your beliefs have such an effect on your life? Why do limiting beliefs keep you from your goals? And how do you reject limiting beliefs? And so I'm excited to get to chapter 5. So I want to get through 4. So here it goes. And happy Sunday. How to read and remember this and any book. Your time is one of your greatest assets. It's the one thing you can't get back. As your brain coach, I want you to get the greatest results and return on your attention. There's a big truck passing by. So here are some recommendations on how to get the most out of this book. You can apply this advice toward practically anything you want to learn and read. Let's start with a question. Have you ever read something only to forget it the next day? Say aye. You are not alone. Psychologists refer to this as the forgetting curve. It is the mathematical, let's flatten this curve. Let's flatten the forgetting curve. It is the mathematical formula that describes the rate at which information is forgotten after it is initially learned. Why is that? It's because we never learn how to learn. Meta-learning. Research suggests humans forget approximately 50% of what they learn within an hour, and an average of 70% within 24 hours. Below are a handful of recommendations that will help you stay ahead of the curve. Later, I will share advanced strategies to accelerate your learning and retention in the sections on study, speed reading, and memory improvement. Research suggests that our natural ability to concentrate wanes between 10 to 40 minutes. If we spend any longer on a given task, we get diminishing returns on our investment of time because our attention starts to wander. For that reason, I suggest you use the Pomodoro technique. I've heard of this before. What is the Pomodoro technique? A productivity method developed by Francesco Cirillo based on the idea that the optimal time for a task is 25 minutes. Okay, that's right. It's kind of like segment intending, I guess, in 25-minute increments, followed by a 5-minute break. Pomodoro effect. So 25 minutes focused on a task, then take 5 minutes off. Let your brain take a break. Because as we learned earlier in the book, that's why we get exhausted multitasking. Multitasking is a trap. We feel like we can do 1,000 things at once. We're really not getting anything done, and we end up exhausted. It's because we're focused on so many different things. Whereas if we just focus on one thing, accomplish it, take a little break, and move to the next, we would get so much more done. So when it comes to learning, the Pomodoro technique works for reasons related to memory, specifically the effect of primacy and recency. The effect of primacy is that you are most likely to remember what you learn in the beginning of a learning session, even a social interaction. If you go to a party, you might meet 30 strangers. You're most likely to remember the first few people you meet, and unless you've been trained to remember names with my method. This guy can remember like 2,000 names in his audiences, which I'll teach you later in this book. The effect of recency is that you're also likely to remember the last thing you learned, the most recent thing. At the same party, this means that you'll remember the names of the last few people you met. So the first few and the last few. We've all procrastinated before a test, and then the night before the exam sat down and cram as much as possible without any breaks. Primacy and recency are just two of the many reasons cram sessions don't work. But by taking breaks, you create more beginnings and endings, and you retain far more of what you're learning. So that break in between helps you to retain more information. So if you sit down and read a book over the course of 2 hours without taking any breaks, you might remember the first 20 minutes of what you read, and then maybe you'll experience a dip around the 30-minute mark, and then you're likely to remember the end of what you read. This means the lull in between, with no breaks for assimilation or thinking through what you just read, process results in a dead space for learning. So take this book one Pomodoro at a time so you get the most out of what you read. Again, the Pomodoro is 25 minutes focused on a task and then taking a 5-minute break, giving your mind some time to relax and process, right? Did you know that the very act of reading this book will make you smarter? Yay! I realize that's a big claim, but I'm completely convinced that it's true. On one level, it's going to teach you to be a smarter through the tools and tactics I share here. But on another level, when you actively read it, you'll form pictures in your mind and between what you know and what you're learning, which I'm already doing. You will think about how this applies to your current life, and you will imagine how you can use the knowledge you're taking in. It promotes neuroplasticity. If you don't know what neuroplasticity is, that is rewiring, firing, wiring new circuits in the brain to create new neurological pathways that will lead to new experiences in your life. This is why you must change your thoughts to change your life, because the same thought patterns, the same self-talk, you are firing, wiring the same circuits. Therefore, your brain is using the same chemicals. You become addicted, just like a drug. You become addicted to your own negative mindset, right? It promotes neuroplasticity. So Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Every now and then a man's mind is stretched by a new idea or sensation and never shrinks back to its former dimensions." There's no turning back for me. When you read any book, you have the opportunity to stretch the range of your mind and will never be the same. Set a timer for 25 minutes right now and concentrate on what you're reading on this book. For that amount of time, when the alarm goes off, bookmark this book and close it. Then write down what you learned within the 25-minute period. And then writing it, of course, is another way of learning, because you're reiterating what you're doing. And then always a good way to learn is to repeat it, to teach what you've learned. So use the FASTER method. To get the most of this book, here is a simple method for learning anything quickly. I call it the FASTER method, and I want you to use this as you read starting now. The acronym FASTER stands for Forget, Act, State, Teach, Enter, Review. Here's the breakdown. F is for forget. The key to laser focus is to remove or forget that which distracts you. There are 3 things you want to forget, at least temporarily. The first is what you already know. When learning something new, we tend to assume we understand more than we do about that subject. You got to go in prepared to learn. Don't think that you know everything, right? So what we think we know about the topic can stand in the way of our ability to absorb new information. One of the reasons children learn empty vessels.
Mommy, can I push my muscles?
Strong, bro.
Hey, Mommy. Mommy.
Yeah, bro?
Guess what I used to do that?
I don't know.
The wash rope.
Okay. Be careful. They know they don't know. Right. Those who don't know and know they don't know want to learn. Teach them. Some people who claim to have 20 years of experience have 1 year of experience that they've repeated 20 times. Can we repeat that again? Some people who claim to have 20 years of experience have 1 year of experience that they've repeated 20 times and they never got the lesson. To learn beyond your present sense of restraints, I want you to temporarily suspend what you already know or think you know about the topic and approach it with the Zen philosophy calls a beginner's mind. Remember that your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. People got to open their minds. You got to expand to learn, to grow, to evolve. The second thing is to forget what's not urgent or important. Contrary to popular belief, your brain later, which we talked about that earlier as well. Multitasking is a trap because you're focused on so many different things. Your energy is going all over the place. That's why you feel drained really fast when you multitask and you don't really get much done. So if you're not fully present, it will be difficult for you to learn when your focus is split. As you are reading this book, when your mind inevitably wanders into something else, like the horn beeping in the background, and that something else is important but not urgent, Don't try to think about it. What you resist persists. What you resist persists. Want to release resistance. Instead, keep a notebook close by to capture that thought or idea by writing it down. You can thus release it temporarily to be addressed after the task at hand is complete. Yes? The moon's still out. Yeah, there it is again. So strange. Why is the moon out? It's like 11:30 a.m. here on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. I don't understand. Like, the moon is clear as day right there. Now, isn't it supposed to be nighttime on the other side of the world? So shouldn't the moon be over there and I wouldn't be able to see it? So, and finally, forget about your limitations. These are the perceived notions you believe about yourself, such as that your memory isn't good or that you're a slow learner. Suspend, at least temporarily, what you believe is possible. I know this may sound difficult, but keep an open mind to what you can do. After all, since you are reading this book, some part of you deep down believe there's more to life than what you've already done. Can I get an amen? Best to keep your self-talk positive. Remember this: if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. I love that quote. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. We're really good at making excuses for ourselves instead of striving for better, to do better, to make a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Your capabilities aren't fixed, and it's possible to learn anything. A is for act. Traditional education has trained many people that learning is a passive experience. You sit quietly in a class, you don't talk to your neighbor, you don't consume it, and you consume the information, and you don't question it. That's what we've been taught. But learning is not a spectator sport. The human brain does not learn as much by consumption as it does by creation. We're meant to be hands-on, unschooling. The human brain does not learn much, but it learns by creation. So knowing that, I want you to ask yourself how you can become more active in your learning. Take notes, do all the quick start exercises, download the quick brain app to test and train your limitless abilities. Go to the resource page, blah, 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 blah. I recommend you highlight key ideas, but don't become one of those highlight junkies who make every page glow in the dark. If you want everything important, then nothing becomes important. The more active you are, the better, faster, and more you will learn. What is one thing you will do to make reading this book a more active experience? Write it down here. What's one? I'm reading it out loud live on Facebook. So there's that. S is for state. All learning is state dependent. Your state is a current snapshot of your emotions. Your state of being is simply the way you've been feeling for a long period of time. So it is highly influenced by your thoughts, psychology, and the physical condition of your body, your physiology. Your feelings or lack thereof about a subject in a specific situation affect the learning process and ultimately the results. In fact, when you tie a feeling to information, the information becomes more memorable. To prove this, I'm guessing there's a song, fragrance, or food that can take you back to your childhood. Information times emotion helps create long-term memories. Information times emotion helps create long-term memories. When you connect a certain event with the feelings and emotions, that's what creates a memory, including trauma. Even if it's a negative emotion, then it's trauma. So information times emotion helps create long-term memories. Hey guys, come this way, please. The opposite is also true. What was the predominant emotional state you felt back in school? When I ask audiences this question, most people in the room shout out boredom, right? Every kid in school is bored. They're not paying attention. They're not focused. That's why they come home and you're like, what'd you learn? They're like, nothing. It's all mindless garbage anyway. In all likelihood, you can relate to this. If your emotional energy at school was low, it's no wonder you forgot the periodic table. But when you take control of your state of mind and body, you can shift your experience of learning from boredom to excitement, curiosity. Like for me, this is fun, which is probably weird to a lot of people. But hey, not a lot of people. So to achieve this, you might try shifting the way your body moves in a learning environment or picketing different moods before you sit down to learn. Change your posture or the depth of your breathing. Sit or stand the way you would if you were totally energized and excited for what was coming. Get excited about how you will benefit from what you are learn and what you will do with your knowledge. Remember, all learning is state dependent. Consciously choose states of joy, fascination, and curiosity. How motivated, energized, and focused are you at this moment? Rate your current state on a scale of 1 to 10. What is one thing you will do right now to increase that number? I'm an 8. I need to take a deep breath and drink some water because I'm kind of thirsty. It's sunny. It's going to be almost 80 degrees again. Middle of November here. But, so learning, T is for teach. Oh, and I say this too, that's the third way to learn, right? If you watch something, you learn it. You take notes, you're learning it again. You share it, you teach others about it, you're learning again. You're teaching yourself as well. To cut your learning curve dramatically, learn with the intention of teaching the information to someone else. I do this all the time. This is how I get all my content. I watch videos about how the mind works, about all the things. I take notes, pages and pages and notes, and then I come on here and I share what I'm learning with you guys.
Mom.
So,
Mom.
yeah.
Look at me.
Think about
Mom.
it. Yeah, baby. Done here. How many pages do I have? Like 3?
No, a lot.
Okay.
Mom, how about we put the green bean bag out?
You want the beanbag back out here?
Yeah, the green bean bag.
Okay, I'll get it as soon as I'm finished.
It.
Okay, I'll get it as soon as I'm finished, okay?
No.
As soon as I'm finished.
No.
If you want to cut your learning curve dramatically, learn with the intention of teaching the information to someone else. Think about it. If you know you have to give a presentation on what you learn, you'll approach what you learn on the topic with the intention of mastering it well enough to explain it to someone else. You will pay closer attention. Your notes might be more detailed and you might even ask better questions. And when you teach something, you get to learn it twice, once on your own and then through educating another person. I say 3 times because you watch it, you're taking notes, you're learning, and then 3, you're sharing it, so you're learning again. So learning isn't always solo, it can be social, like this. You may enjoy this book more if you invite someone else to learn with you. Buy a copy for a friend, or even better, start a Limitless book club that meets weekly so you can discuss the ideas and concepts in this book. You'll enjoy learning more. Kitty, what are you eating? When you're making memories with a friend or group of friends. Working with someone else will not only help you stay accountable, but it will give you someone to practice this method with. Find a learning buddy to read this book with and hold each other accountable. Who is my person? Facebook, all of you. Let's see if anybody can really stick with me through this whole book. E is for enter. What is the simplest and most powerful personal performance tool? Your calendar. We enter important things on our schedule. Work meetings, parent-teacher gatherings, dentist appointments, taking Fluffy to the vet, and so on. Do you know what a lot of people don't schedule? Self-care, their personal development, and if it's not on your calendar, there's a good chance it's not getting done. It's too easy with you forgetting to work out your body and brain. So take out your calendar and enter your limitless readings for the next 7 days. I read a chapter a day. So label these limitless me, genius time, brain time, conversations with Jim, or anything else productive enough to guarantee that you'll keep this date on your calendar. Every day chapter. So bright and sunshine day. R is for review. One of the best ways to reduce the effects of forgetting curve is to actively recall what you learned with spaced repetition. You are better able to retain information by reviewing in multiple spread out sessions. Going over the material at intervals increases our brain's ability to remember it. To leverage this principle before you begin your reading session, take a moment, if only a few minutes, to actively retrieve what you've learned the session before. Your brain will give greater value to the reviewed material and prime your mind for what's to come. Okay, baby. Before each reading, take a few minutes to talk about or write what you remember from the previous reading. Choose wisely. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, something like that, noted that life is C between B and D, meaning that the life we live is the choices we make between B of birth and D of death. Life is C between B and D. So it's choices between birth and death. The profound simplicity of that statement is particularly relevant to the journey we're engaged with here. Being limitless is a choice. And that choice is completely up to you. I was reading some of the comments there. Where was I? That choice is completely up to you, regardless of your circumstances. You can choose to give up this power, but why would you when you know that you can truly live a life without barriers by choosing? But choosing is an active thing, and the time to make this choice is right now. So I want you to resolve and commit. Most people are sincerely interested in doing something that they know they should do, but they don't do it because they consider it a preference, not a promise. There's tremendous power in making a real resolution. I want you to write down your commitment to complete this book. When we write something down, we're more likely to do what we promise. Opposite, I've included a commitment page for you to fill out, and if you want extra points, take a photo of your signed promise, post it on social media, blah, 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 blah. Here's a quote that I want to read here. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Guys, this is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. I'm copying this quote. It's from The Matrix. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Offering is the truth, nothing more. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm just going to mark this page because I'm doing a live probably later all about on what I believe is the truth of what's going on in this world. And I'm going to read that quote at the beginning. But know that you can truly live a life without barriers. Do you know that? By choosing is to make the choices right now. So I want you to resolve and commit. Oh, there's a commitment here to reading this book. I'm committed to reading this book, a chapter a day. Get it done. The questions are the answer. Have you ever read a page in a book, arrived at the end, and could not recall what you just read? You may even reread it only to forget it again. I don't want you to experience this while you're reading this book. So why do you think it happens? The answer is you're not asking the right questions. Questions, in fact, are the answer. Every second, your senses gather up to 11 million bits of information from the world around you. Let me repeat that because this is something I learned in neuro-linguistic programming. Every second, your senses gather up to 11 million bits of information. Okay, so your 5 senses and your 6th intuition as well are also picking, if you're in tune, are picking information up from the quantum field, and you are interpreting it in your mind. Your mind is literally the software that is decoding all the information so that you can perceive the world around you. So every second, 11 million bits of information are coming in, but you filter that, and when it comes down to it, you're only, I think, getting maybe 300 bits out of 11 million. Okay, so you're not processing, like you're processing it all, but you're really only consciously aware of about 300 million, or 300 bits out of 11 million. So if you tried to interpret and decipher all of them, you'd be immediately overwhelmed. That's why the brain is primarily a deletion device. It's designed to keep information out. The conscious mind typically processes only 50 bits per second. Okay, I lie, it's 50. So out of 11, we take in through our senses about 11 million bits of information, but we filter it out, we process it, and into only about 50 bits of information out of a million. What makes it through the filter is determined by the part of the brain called the reticular activating system. I've spoke about this before, the RAS. Reticular activating system is responsible for a number of functions, including sleep and behavior modification. It also acts as the gatekeeper of information through a process called habituation, which allows the brain to ignore meaningless and repetitive stimuli and remain sensitive to other inputs. One of the ways to guide the RAS, the reticular activating system, are to ask questions. Are the questions we ask ourselves. One of the ways to guide the RAS are the questions we ask ourselves. What is important to us? Let's take my younger sister's birthday as an example. Years ago, my sister kept sending me postcards, pictures, and emails. I know this story. Of pug dogs, the ones with the musty faces or the mushy faces and bulgy eyes. They're very docile. You can dress them up with ballerinas and they won't care. Of course, I wondered why she was sending me photos of pugs, and then I remembered her birthday was coming up, and it became evident she was leaving clues because she wanted one. Later that day, I was checking out at the health food store, and I looked over at the other check line. To my surprise, I saw a woman carrying her pug over her shoulder. Wow, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. What are the chances of that? So you place that in your mind, your reticular activating system starts to make you believe that it's something important, and it'll start to show up more in your life. And so it's planting things in that system. Very, very interesting. So let's go. What are the chances, he thought. The next day I went running to my neighborhood, and there was someone walking 6 pugs. The question is, where did the pugs come from? Did they just magically appear? Of course not. They were always there, but in the flood of stimuli. I had never paid attention to them before. Once pugs broke through my awareness, I started seeing them all over the place. Have you had an experience like this? Maybe it was a specific kind of car or an outfit that magically began appearing everywhere. In an interview with media personality Jeannie May, we compared this effect to how your favorite social media platform starts showing you more posts based on past expressed interest. Facebook, right? Yeah, it'll start showing you things will pop up. Even you start getting all kinds of stuff according to what you're looking at, what you're researching. So the site you're on knows this because of what you've clicked, liked, and watched before. So your reticulator activating system is like the site's algorithm. Your reticulator activating system is like algorithm. So it shows you more of what you express interest in, and it hides the things you don't engage in. So often the answers we want are there, but we're not asking the right questions to shine a spotlight on them. Instead, we're asking useless questions, or worse, questions that are disempowering. Why am I not smart enough? Why am I not good enough? Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I find the person I'm meant to be with? We ask such negative questions, and then those questions give us evidence or pugs as answers, right? So you're placing that in your reticulator activating system. It's a part in your brain that if whatever you put in there, you're going to start seeing more of, okay? And so if you're saying, why can't I lose weight? It's like, oh, you can't lose weight? Heard, check. Boom, you're not going to lose weight. The human mind is always generalizing in order to make sense of the world. Here, there, and everywhere, we can find evidence to confirm our beliefs. Whatever you believe to be true will be true for you. Thinking is a process of reasoning through something, during which we ask and answer questions. You may be asking, is that true? To ask a question. While we have tens of thousands of thoughts a day, we have one, maybe two dominant questions we ask more than others. As you can imagine, these questions direct our focus, which directs how we feel and how we consequently spend our lives. As a thought experiment, imagine someone whose most frequent question is, how do I get people to like me? You don't know their age, career, or what they look like, but you know more than you probably realize. What do you imagine their personality to be like? Probably not very outgoing. Maybe kind of awkward. Um, you don't need to know much to guess that they're a people pleaser. They're indirect in expressing their needs, and they're not authentic about how they feel or think in any given moment. Someone who is constantly asking themselves how to get people to like them can never truly be their self, because they will always be molding themselves to the preferences of the people around them, even if they're not aware of it. You know all this information, and you only know one question they ask themselves. What do you think is your dominant question? So your dominant question: when I felt my brain was broken, because Jim Quick had a brain injury as a child. He was labeled the child with the broken brain. So when I felt my brain was broken, I loved to escape into the world of superheroes, comic books, Dungeons and Dragons. The world of fantasy helped me forget my pain. I decided that the superpower that would be best for me was invisibility, and my dominant question became, how do I stay invisible? Instead of being seen, I was always watching everyone else, wondering what everyone's life was like. I wondered why this person was so popular and that person was so happy, or what made another person so smart. I was suffering all the time. So as I watched people and learned from the world around me, my dominant question changed to, how do I make this better? I wanted to solve this riddle. How does my mind work so I can work my mind? The more and more I asked these new questions, the more answers I got back. This book is the result of 2 decades of asking empowering questions. He who asks questions cannot avoid the answers. I first met Will Smith at Quincy Jones' 80th birthday party. After hearing about my traumatic brain injury, he invited me to be a guest on the premiere of the film Concussion, a movie about the concerns of football-related head trauma. I'll talk about the brain protection in the upcoming chapter. Eventually, Will booked me to come to Toronto to spend time with him for a week on set. He was shooting a superhero film, which you can imagine that was in my glory, or I was in my glory. What was interesting to me was the cast and crew were working each night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. outside in the dead of winter. Not all Hollywood is glitz and glam. There's a lot of hurrying up just to wait on set. During a break, Will and I discovered a few of his dominant questions. One of which is, how do I make this movement or this moment even more magical? While we were waiting for Will's next scene to shoot, his family and friends were huddled in tents watching the other actors work at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., while I'm sure everyone was cold and tired, we got to see his dominant question in action. He was bringing everyone hot cocoa, cracking jokes to make us smile, and actively playing host while he could resting. He was indeed making the moment even more magical. The result of this question directed his focus and behavior and completely changed the experience for everyone. So what is the one dominant question you ask yourself? How can I improve myself to help others? How can I improve myself to help others? That is the question that I ask myself. Prepare your mind. Questions direct your focus, so they play into everything in life, even reading comprehension. Because people typically don't ask enough questions. When they read, they compromise their focus, understanding, and retention. If you prep your mind with the right kind of questions before you read, you'll see the answers everywhere. For that, key questions throughout the book. To start you off, here are the 3 dominant questions to ask on our journey together. They will help you to take action on what you learn and turn knowledge into power. How can I use this? Why must I use this? And when will I use this?
Can I smash a pumpkin?
Hold on, bro. These are your 3 magic questions. How can I use this? Why must I use this? When will I use this? They will help you integrate the knowledge from this book into your head, heart, and hands. Ingrain them. Write these questions down where you see them on your desk or in your phone. How can I use this? Why must I use this? And when will I use this? Shh, guys, whisper. Instead of passively reading, consider these questions as you take... No, you may not smash that pumpkin, dude. No. Sister doesn't want you to smash that one.
What can I smash?
I don't know, bro.
Smash ones are already old inside.
No, they're not.
No.
Instead of passively reading questions as you take in the knowledge in this book, remember questions are the answer. At the beginning of every chapter for the rest of this book, you will find a series of questions that are designed to focus as you read. Guys, listen, I'm on the very last page. Okay? Study the questions before you read each chapter, and you'll be better prepared to understand and remember what you learn. Along with the questions, do the quick start exercises seated in the strategic places throughout the book. They are specific activities designed to immediate action in your learning and life. Most of these can be done in 1 or 2 minutes. Remember the power of neuroplasticity. Again, neuroplasticity is being able to fire and wire new circuits in your brain to create new neurological pathways that will lead to new experience. Every time you answer a question and do a new activity, you rewire your brain, like I was just saying. I also conclude each chapter with exercises to do before you move on to the next section to really set these lessons into practice. All right, so that's the end of chapter 4. And tomorrow is part 3, Limitless Mind, the what. So, breezing through this book. I hope that you're enjoying your day. I'm off this for right now. Truth, love, and light, y'all. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, and namaste. Bye.